Hello everyone, this is Indrajit Ganguly and today I am continuing with my previous day's topic from nationalism in India, First World War, Khilafat and non-cooperation. After the completion of the First World War in 1919, the British government decided to exert more control over revolutionary activities. As a result, they proposed the Rowlatt Act in 1919, named after its chairman Sir Sidney Rowlatt. These acts gave the government enormous powers to repress political activities and allowed detention of political prisoners without trial for 2 years. Mahatma Gandhi wanted non-violent civil disobedience against such unjust laws. It was started with Hartal on 6th April 1919. Rallies were organized in various cities. Workers went on strikes in railway workshops and shops closed down. Local leaders were picked up from entering Amritsar and Mahatma Gandhi was barred from entering Delhi. The police in Amritsar fired upon a peaceful procession, provoking widespread attacks on banks, post offices and railway stations. On 10th April, martial law imposed under the command of General Dyer. On 13th April 1919, the famous Jallianwala Bagh incident took place. On that day, a large crowd gathered in the enclosed ground of Jallianwala Bagh. Some came to protest against the government's new repressive measures. Others had come to attend the annual Baisakhi fair. General Dyer entered the area, blocked the exit points, and opened fire on the crowd, killing hundreds and wounded 300s. His object was to create in the minds of satyagrahis a feeling of terror and awe. As the news of Jallianwala Bagh spread, crowds took to streets in many North Indian towns. There were strikes, clashes with police and attacks on government buildings. The government responded with brutal repression, seeking to humiliate and terrorize people. Satyagrahis were forced to rub their noses on the ground. People were flogged and villages were bombed. After this incident, Mahatma Gandhi withdrew the Rowlatt Satyagraha in 1919. While the Rowlatt Satyagraha had been a widespread movement, it was still limited mostly to cities and towns. Mahatma Gandhi now felt the need to launch a more broad-based movement in India. But he was certain that no such movement could be organized without bringing Hindus and Muslims closer together. The First World War had ended with the defeat of Ottoman Turkey, and there were rumors that a harsh peace treaty was going to be imposed on Khalifa. Now you can ask me, what is the meaning of Khalifa? Khalifa is the spiritual leader of the Muslim people. So all the Muslims were basically guided under the head that is known as Khalifa. To defend Khalifa's temporal powers, a Khilafat committee was formed in Bombay in 1919. Muhammad Ali and Shaukat Ali began discussing with Mahatma Gandhi about the possibility of a united mass action on the issue. Gandhiji saw this as an opportunity to bring Muslims under the umbrella of a unified national movement. Later on, Mahatma Gandhi merged the Khilafat movement with the non-violent non-cooperation movement in 1920. Students, on your screen you can see this is the important features of the Khilafat issue, and these are the reasons to organize the Khilafat movement in the year 1919. So this is my advice is to you, please go through these points and that will help you for the better understanding of the Khilafat movement. In December 1920, in the Nagpur session of Congress, finally, the non-cooperation program was adopted. But before discussion of the non-cooperation movement, let me tell you about the Gandhi's view on Indians and how they treated Indians. In his book Hind Swaraj, which was published in 1909, Gandhiji quoted a very famous line that was, "British rule was established in India with the cooperation of Indians and had survived only because of these cooperation. If Indians refused to cooperate, British rule in India would collapse within a year and Swaraj would come." This quotation is very remarkable because basically middle class Indian, they used to go to the British schools and colleges. Okay, they usually take up the Western education, English educations. The middle class people, they worked in the British offices as a clerks, peons. So in this way, the cooperation is generally managed. So Gandhiji remarked that if Indians stop these cooperation, then automatically the British rule would end within a year and the Swaraj would come and India would be free from the British rule. So therefore, Mahatma Gandhi adopted the non-cooperation program. Remember, basically non-cooperation program was generally adopted on the basis of two policy or two strategy, we can say that. First one is boycott strategy and second one is Swadeshi strategy. Remember, this boycott and Swadeshi strategy was also taken up in the 1905 Swadeshi movement, but it was not discussion of our matter. It will be discussed in the 5th chapter, that is Age of Industrialization. Okay, so in the two strategy, first, that is boycott, that Mahatma Gandhi appealed to the masses for surrender titles like high sounding titles such as Rai Bahadur, knighthood, Chaudhary, so on. These titles generally provided by the British government to the Indians for their work, and the awards which were given by the British government. Next, British products, basically the Manchester made products, British clothes. Okay, because the British clothes flooded the Indian markets and it hampered the Indian handloom industry, and Indian weavers are very much affected by this. Okay, therefore economy also affected by the British products. So Gandhiji was appealed to the masses to refuse British products. Next, British institutions like schools, colleges, courts and offices. These things are appealed by Gandhiji to boycott this. And next, on the Swadeshi ideology, Gandhiji appealed to the masses use khadi products. Okay, whenever we used khadi products, it automatically developed the Indian textile industry, and it was good for the Indian weavers and it was good for the Indian economy. Next, hand spinning and weaving. It was very important. Hand spinning and weaving gave the ideology of self-reliant India. That was very important. I think you know that Modi ji is often saying that Atmanirbhar Bharat, right? The concept of Atmanirbhar Bharat was basically given by Gandhiji, that self-reliant India, because of the policy of hand spinning and hand weaving. Next, eradication of untouchability from society. Okay, it is a very important thing. Basically, Indian society was full of caste and caste discrimination. The lower caste peoples, they are deprived from the society, and Gandhiji believed that the independence is required for all. In this independent society, there was no class conflict, that is a conflict between zamindars and the peasantry, and there should be no caste conflict, that means higher caste peoples and lower caste people. That means Brahmins could not exploit or torture the Dalits group of people. That kind of society is required. So that are the basis of the non-cooperation movement. Okay, in my next class, I will discuss you about the expansion of non-cooperation movement in the cities and towns and how the movement become a violent in nature in the countryside. Thank you and have a nice day.